Hey Pipe community, good to see you all. Hope you're doing well. Got my antler tampler out tonight, smoking a Peterson kind of summertime finish. It's July, so summertime is fitting, but you can smoke this anytime. I don't have to tell you that. We've actually had a lot of rain here. Maybe you've seen the news. Um, so I live about. I mean, I'm at the top of the hill, so I'm fine. But if you go to the bottom of the hill to the main road and hang a right, about 6 minutes from there is the Guadalupe River. So I kind of we were gonna have kind of friends and family, friends over for 4th of July, and so I woke up 4th of July. We still had some things to get done around the house, cleaning, vacuuming, mopping, preparing some food, that kind of stuff. So, we spent most of the day doing that. Our friends were supposed to arrive around 3, so I wasn't on any kind of media whatsoever. They arrived, had a good time. It kind of rained off and on all day. Nothing, not a lot of crazy rain that day, but at least here. But it just kind of rained off and on all day. Um, it stopped enough that we did some fireworks after it got dark. Nothing, fountains and sparklers and snap pops or whatever, that kind of thing. Kids had fun playing with all the other kids. Um, you know, had some beers, grilled some burgers under the deck, so we weren't getting rained on. And I don't think I even heard anything that night. I think I just went to bed. Anyways, that's when the waters. I guess 4 in the morning on the 4th is when things really hit. So I didn't hear anything about it that day. If I had gone down the road, I would have seen the water level uh, going over the bridge, but I didn't go anywhere. So Saturday, you started hearing about everything. Um, I got a couple of text messages about opportunities to kind of help out. So I didn't have any good working boots. So I went to Walmart, got a pair of boots, uh, and then Sunday morning it was kind of people through church. So met up at church Sunday morning at like 7 in the morning. Um, kind of got our orders. Uh, so a lot of the towns that hit are kind of smaller towns. So we were going to Center Point, which they just have a volunteer fire department. So we went there. We went there with the understanding that yeah, it's a volunteer fire department. So be patient. And we did end up having to wait around for a while. I think a couple hundred people showed up, 70 from our church, and more from other places. It was kind of hurry up and wait at that point, but they did eventually set us out. So um, we kind of headed upstream to an area of the river, kind of between Center Point and um, Kerrville, and so you know we kind of I got I didn't expect to rescue anyone or anything like that. The understanding was it was more of a recovery effort. So over the course of probably 4 or 5 hours, we covered a couple of miles of one side of the bank. Um, you know, Pretty wild. I mean, you guys have seen the news. Just the trees, just big trees knocked over. Texas isn't really known for like big trees. It's not as desert as most people think of it, but along the river, it provides water. So there's a lot of cypress trees. So those are pretty big, pretty substantial trees. So I mean, I saw uh, you know ATVs like up in trees, lots and lots of debris. Um, I didn't find anybody. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. Um, Lots of livestock. So we saw goats and chickens, that kind of thing. Lots of fish. Believe it or not, that's not your first thing. Like what? It's kind of like nobody asphyxiates in a tornado. They die from the mechanics involved. It's the same kind of deal. So there's just big brush piles, like 30-foot brush piles that are built up around a bigger tree, and so you kind of, you know, but those are all over the place. You can't just like go to town on one because there's another one right next to it, and another one, another one. So you kind of had to go off a smell. More often than not, it ended up being a fish. So yeah, but like I said, I did see a goat, some poultry, those kinds of things, some snakes. Uh, but yeah, so we did that for 4 or 5 hours. Really muddy. Uh, yeah, lots of shoes. We found some pictures here and there. They would collect those. Yeah. So anyways, I didn't find anything, but it was good to go help out for a while. So anyways, so that was last Sunday I went. So it happened on Friday. I wasn't there Saturday, but I ended up there Sunday. Lots of helicopters going back and forth. I didn't see any drones. I did hear people saying, hey, I should have brought my drone. Ultimately, I think Monday or something, somebody's drone flew a drone and hit a helicopter and knocked the helicopter out of service. So I don't know. It was wild. The center point, I think they got the engines out, but the center point station itself flooded, and they were, I think, 8 feet into the station high, like full of water. Because the fire station there is like, it's, I don't know, it's maybe 100 yards, maybe 150 yards from where the Guadalupe usually runs. But yeah, so they got flooded too. I don't think they had power. Well, smoking some Irish flake. So anyways, it's interesting. I wanted to go help out. In my younger days, I was working as an EMT, and I had the opportunity to go after Hurricane Katrina. I was unmarried. I didn't have any kids. And for whatever reason, I didn't go. I've always kind of regretted that. So this is my own backyard. And, it's a Sunday, so I might as well. So, yeah, it's been a wet, for here especially, it's been a wet summer, spring and summer, which is good. I have grass. I've actually had to mow, but it's not good when you get a bunch of it in one place all at the same time. So, like I said, ATVs and trees and boats and like pieces of what look like trailers, either pull along trailers or camper trailers. I don't know, but yeah. So it was good to go with the guys from church and serve in that way. Like I said, the group I was with didn't end up finding anybody. It did look like, I'm sure everything had been kind of run quickly across on, previous days, but like the area we were looking at, I didn't see a whole lot of footprints. And also keep in mind the water goes down. I think it probably went down pretty quick, but anyway, it didn't look like there's helicopters obviously, and I don't know if they had boats going. I don't think I saw any boats, but so I'm sure someone had been there, but it had been very lightly searched, so we did a more thorough search. Talking pipes going out. So that was that's outside the norm, kind of a eventful weekend. Sad, really, if you think about it. Still 100 plus people unaccounted for. And if they're buried in mud, that's at a certain point, you just gotta bring in the dogs, and they can smell something, 30 feet under the dirt, from what I understand. But yeah, for even as a human and not a dog, the nose was the best tool ultimately. Usually we'd go, it's like, do you smell that? Yeah, I smell that. And you kind of have to dig around. And like I said, more often than not, it was a fish. Um, and then occasionally, like I said, there was a goat, some poultry. So, anyways, I'll stop rambling. I did see a gar, so I haven't seen one of those in the wild. It was dead, of course. I did save a crayfish. I found a live one, so I threw him back in the water. But yeah, lots of people trying to help out. Kids are doing swimming lessons right now. They can all swim to varying degrees, but and not that that would help you in this this situation, but it does make it all the more hits home. Like, yeah, right up there with reading and writing, you got to be able to swim. So they're doing a 2-week course at the community pool. So we had that lined up beforehand, but it's good. I think I mentioned I'm smoking Irish Flake. It's a good one. And before that, I did a bowl of Curly Block. Haven't done that in a while. That was good too. Other than that, I don't know. Work has been kicking my butt for a while. Nothing I can do about that. Kind of makes everything else in life suck, though. Hope you guys are doing well. Leave me a comment and let me know how you're doing. Yeah. Nothing else really to speak of. Just grinding, This Irish Flake is a little damp tonight. Giving me some gurgle. Anyway, this is my only antler tamper. I don't know what that is, if that's a 45 or something bigger. Looks bigger, but Very cool tamper. Glad to have this one. If you ever get the chance, antler tempers are awesome. Scrapes out the bowl really nice. Got a nice big flat surface to... I prefer, I mean, this is technically, I don't know if it's bone. I guess antler's bone, right? But I wouldn't want that in direct contact. I'm sure it wouldn't hurt anything, but having a metal at the bottom works nice. But yeah, alright. I've rambled on long enough. It's like 15 minutes, but good seeing you guys. Yeah, I'll see you when I see you. God bless. Take care. And I'll talk to you again, hopefully not in too long. See ya.